This video is going to be showing off Fort Zancudo and some of the interesting secrets hidden within its confines. Now, this is probably the most dangerous part of the entire map to explore. It is a secure military facility, and so as soon as you're seen inside, you generate 4 wanted stars, which means a near constant harassment by the NPCs, and this can include soldiers with automatic weapons. It can include vans, it can include attack helicopters, and most deadly are the tanks. And so, for purposes of demonstrating the base and showing off the base in this video, I've enabled cheats just so that my character's invulnerable. Now, you've seen already him driving around the outside of the facility. Here he is approaching either a chemical plant or some kind of fuel depot. There's really nothing of interest there. The fortress is, or the fort rather, is dominated by several hangars and airstrips. Now, my guy's approaching the in-base fire station right now. It's marked by 2 tall towers with the striped pattern on the taller one. And unfortunately, although it looks like you might be able to go inside, you can't. You'll see here in just a moment Franklin tries to go inside, but it's not a real door, it's just barred. There is a ladder over here that he tries to climb, and he does climb in fact, but unfortunately once you reach the top, there's nothing there. Now, walking over to another section of the base, there's an enormous hangar whose doors are closed. I don't think you can get inside, but I noticed there's an extremely long ladder all the way up to the roof. I thought, well, maybe there's something up here, and as you see in just a second, it's actually kind of disappointing. Given the risks you have to take to climb it. Just watching Franklin right now with the cheats enabled, you can see the kind of punishment you can expect if you try to go on foot and actually climb this ladder. It's, I would say, impossible unless you're cheating, or unless of course you use a parachute or some kind of aerial vehicle to get on the roof in the first place. But here it is. It is kind of interesting to me, the fact that they've done all of this detail on the roof, and it's up there if you climb it. But I guess the best part of this roof is the prospect it gives you of the entire base. You see a lot of the vehicles down below, the fighter jets, the military trucks, etc. Now, those C-130 gunships are almost impossible to fly off in. They're slow. You're more than likely going to be surrounded by enemies by the time you start moving in them, so I wasn't able to actually fly off in one. I think maybe if you're extremely quick, you might be able to make it, but it's not going to be easy. Now, this section of the base is clearly the barracks section, and there's some pretty nice details in here. For one, a lot of the soldiers that you'll see running around and firing at you from within the confines of the barracks are shirtless, as though they've just been doing PT or, coming out of their barracks. So it's a nice little detail. You see the soldiers have the climbing wall and 2 basketball courts, as well as some physical obstacle courses. It's the attention to detail in the space that I find very interesting. And as you see there, the soldiers I had mentioned are in some state of undress. Gives you the impression that you caught them by surprise, which is kind of cool. Anyway, driving along the perimeter of the base now, you're going to want to approach, if you can, the big air control tower, because that's really where the most interesting stuff is located. It is near that other entrance that you just saw there, but when you get over there, you'll see what I'm talking about, because as far as I can tell, the air control tower has the only functioning doors in the entire base. Given the number of buildings, it is a bit disappointing that there's not more, but I suppose we should be thankful for how much Rockstar has given us for a section of the map that really you're not meant to explore at will. So at any rate, here's the tower area. There's some smaller towers. There's a, some kind of radar station there. You can see it circling around. But in just a moment, we'll go inside the double doors here. They're the distinct green doors, and when you get inside, there's a metal detector station, security monitor station with a bank of 10 screens, and there's a lot of work that went into this. I'm not sure that it's ever actually used. As far as I know, it's not part of any particular mission. So this is just there for detail and for generating a sense of a realistic gaming world, which, as I've mentioned earlier in the video, I appreciate. But we're going to go poke around in here. There is a training room complete with classroom desks, a dry erase board, and some lesson plans to include posters with information on firearms and maps. So that's the classroom of the base. And moving further in, just beyond, there's actually an elevator you can go in. And regrettably, the elevator is non-functioning. The doors do open, and I really wish they'd allow you to use the button, because we're going to see momentarily just how long it takes to climb the stairs within the building. It does take quite a while. Unfortunately, you can't use the button, and so it's really just there for the sliding doors. So we've got to slum it, and we've got to take the stairs up. So go through the green door, and you'll go up several flights of stairs. Generally the enemies don't spawn on the staircase, which is a relief, because it would be quite treacherous to have to aim and move up the flight of stairs if they were spawning. Your only real enemy at this point is boredom, because there are a good 6 or so flights of stairs you've got to ascend. Now I'm going to cut past the descent, but I'll show you here in the video on the ascent just how long it does take, even if you're running and if you're in a hurry. It's not quick, but anyway, there's some interesting stuff once you do reach the top. There's a suite of rooms you can explore, and be warned, those rooms are occupied with soldiers and officers who will fire at you. So if you're not using cheats, if you're a purist and don't want to use them, exercise extreme caution, because they can do a lot of damage very quickly. If you're not using cheats, I would certainly recommend either Trevor or Michael for their greater combat ability. But here we are, the 6th floor, and now you reach this landing, you start to get to some of the interesting things on the top of the flight control tower. We go through this door. There's a minigun you can pick up, which is a very nice treat. You'll certainly need it if you're to get out of here alive. There are some binders and functioning computers. Other than that, I don't believe NPCs spawn in here, so it's not too dangerous. So we'll continue our climb up the tower. Here's the elevator that I wish had functioned. It would have saved me a boatload of time, but nevertheless, there's a server room just beyond it, and you see some sparking effects if you shoot the bank of computers. That's really all there is to it, though. It's the flight control server, and so you're going to want to move on. I didn't really see any kind of Easter eggs in there or anything with any kind of secret message or a wink and a nod. And so we're going to want to climb to the very top of the tower, and this is where you can have several enemies. In this case, I believe there were 3, including an officer, which I thought was pretty nice, different uniform and everything. And here, there is a health pack. You can pick up the drop weapons from the soldiers that you kill. And really, the distinct part of this is the wonderful view you get of the entire base, and it'll allow you to review the lay of the land without being harassed. You can see water treatment centers down below, the various hangars and warehouses, and then of course the impressive array of aircraft lined up on the concrete below. Those aircraft again are almost impossible to take off in, so keep that in mind if you feel brave. But cutting ahead to the other point of interest in the Fort Zancudo map is the bunker. Now, as far as I know, you need 100% completion in order to unlock everything here. I don't have that in this game, but go down the flight of stairs and you will see an elevator. And if you look closely at the elevator, it is on floor -1. This elevator does not open up, and even with cheats, I don't think there's anything to explore. I guess the implication is there's something interesting hidden below the surface, but Rockstar had had enough and they didn't render and program in any underground base. I suppose in the future, downloadable content might expand upon this, but that's all there is. The one interesting remaining thing is, again, if you have 100% completion, around 1 or maybe 3 in the morning, a green light will spawn on the roof of that bunker. Now, that green light is an indication of the location every night of what looks like a UFO flying high above Fort Zancudo, near the height limit. Now, I say UFO, it's not really a UFO. People who have examined it, and there are other videos that do examine that flying craft, seem to think that it's actually a military plane of some kind, possibly using alien technology. But anyway, that's a video for a later date. This has been a look at Fort Zancudo. I appreciate you watching. There's some nice details. It's quite a large base if you think about it. You know, this is a part of the map that you really aren't supposed to explore. It's extremely risky, and if you're not cheating, odds are you're not going to make it very long before you're killed off. So kudos to Rockstar for their attention to detail, as always. I hope you enjoyed this brief tour of the fort. I encourage you all to try it out with maybe cheats enabled so you can get a good look yourselves at the pace and in the detail that you want to examine the fort. But like the video if you found it useful, and thank you as always for watching.